We do not have a quorum at the moment. We are working with the Democrats and the Republicans to try to fill out our roster. But for the moment, at least, we are down a few and people are missing today. So we don't quite have a quorum. We're close, but not quite. So we'll skip over the approval of the January minutes and our agenda, and we'll start with Beth. Beth, give us a Mather Center report.
Okay, I am going to actually just advertise what's going on in March, just because our highlights and happenings for March is already out, and we're still being required to do signups for a little while longer. The difference with the mask mandate now is if you're fully vaccinated and boosted, once you arrive into the program or activity you're going to do, you have the option of taking your mask off. But if the instructor feels more comfortable with you keeping your mask on, we're asking people to comply with the instructor because it's very important that we have the classes. So that's good. We're going in the right direction. We're still doing distancing. That's the only reason why we're still doing signups. So we're waiting for that to be lifted. So once that happens, we won't have to be doing signups for absolutely everything, especially our regular programming. We are up to regularly like 9 programs a day. Most of our programs are right to capacity, which is a really good thing, which means sign up is increasing. I think we're over 400 and some odd waivers, which means that's how many people have come into the center and are coming into the center. So we're getting good participation. In March, on March 10th, we have an entertainment coming in that is to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. That will go back to having the socially distanced bagged lunch so people can eat the lunch and then put their masks back on during the entertainment, and they'll be distanced. But on March 17th, we're so thrilled that Lynn Academy dancers are coming back. The kids can't come till 1, so we're going to do the drive-through lunch at 11:30 so people can get back here for 1 o'clock because I think we have 2 students that are going to Worlds. So it's going to be a really lovely performance actually on St. Patrick's Day, which doesn't usually happen. So we're really happy about that. We are also going to start a cornhole fun, not competitive, in March on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There'll be 2 sessions each of those days for a maximum of 4 players, but 2 players can play as well. We are looking at bringing ping pong back in that very same room. So I'm just waiting. I haven't heard much about ping pong. We got pre-sign up for cornhole. Probably about 14 people want to do it already. So we know we're good to go. So we bought the cornhole apparatus for that. The March newsletter is packed. Stacy has done an incredible job bringing a lot of different and diversified programming in center. We still have about 5 to 6 a month on Zoom, but mostly more in center. And that seems to be what we like in Darien, and we want to be in the building. So, even if we have to keep with protocols a little while longer, we don't mind doing that as long as we get to see people and people are responding. I would also say that we really wanted to bring the lunch in, even curtailed in March. I'm down 3 staff members. So at this point, we're looking hopefully at bringing lunch fully back in April. So the drive-through will completely end, and we will be just doing in-center again with new actual protocol that we're going to continue, which will be that we are going to have dome dishes now. We're going to have wrapped silverware so that there'll be no longer lines. We'll have people actually being served every day, and we're going to continue that on because for public health standards, that's actually a better way for us to do lunch anyway. But it's a little bit more than we've done in the past. So it'll be more staff heavy and also volunteers. We're looking, and that leads me to the last thing I want to talk about. I put a notice in the March newsletter because we haven't done a reach out for a while for anybody who would like to be a professional volunteer once a year, once a month, once a week. And I put some ideas in there, like someone running a book club, somebody helping us event planning, somebody who wants to help us with computers, though we are looking to get a computer instructor on the regular now because of some of the ARPA money that's been promised to the senior center, we are going to have a class that teaches iPad and teaches Zoom. And that's coming in the future, but we want to get to see what the interest is and get people pretty much on board, knowing that we have it here. We're looking for people that want to run our current events class again. That was one of the most wonderful things that we had. It was bipartisan and probably tripartisan, but great global discussions at current events. We'd like to cultivate that back again. That was Friday afternoons in our library that we would hear people with passionate views on what's going on in the world, but it always ended friendly. So we're looking for somebody to coordinate that again. Or if somebody does travelogues and they wanted to share some of the places that they've been in the world, especially since travel is still not back to what it was before. So I encourage people to get the newsletter and really look at it. The newsletter is available, like I said, way in advance. So this is the March newsletter I'm holding in my hand. And many people do what this gal has done, which they mark it up now with when they're going to come in, what times they're here, so that they don't miss any of the programming. And also it makes it a little easier for us when we do signups. You can get it online, but many people prefer the hard copy. So I tell everybody, you know, between 8:30 and 2:30, come in and just take one off the desk if that's what you prefer. So we have them out, like I said, way in advance. So they're out there right now. And March really is jam-packed. April will be too. And like I said, I'm fingers crossed that April, even it might be 4 people at a table with a dome dish, but we're going to try to get ourselves back to having in-center lunch again. So that's my report.
Thanks, Beth. Anybody have any questions for Beth? Seeing none. Moving on to Human Services report. Thank you, Beth. Allie?
Morning.
Morning.
Just a couple things, not too much new to report, but I did want to let everyone know that that I'm the municipal veterans representative, and right now I'm actually in the process of helping a widow of a veteran try to apply for aid in attendance, which is when people need home health care. If they meet the financial eligibility, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I think liquid assets is about $130,000. I don't have the numbers for the actual income as well, but if they are, they can get a stipend from the VA. It's a very cumbersome process, 32-page application, but just wanted to let people know that that is a service that we can help connect people to the right contacts and resources for veterans and their surviving spouses. We had 1 protective services for the elderly case in the last month. As I've said before, those are very time consuming. We try to work really closely with the social workers from protective services to make sure that the seniors' needs are met and we can come up with a longer term plan. And otherwise, just a reminder that the assessor's office started accepting applications for the senior tax credits. The income limit, let's see, the deadline is May 16th, so there's still plenty of time. The income limit for a married couple is $55,400, and for an individual, it's $47,100. And this goes based on your income from 2021. Otherwise, we're still accepting energy assistance, and my usual plug that we have the emergency call list if anyone would like to be added. So far, knock on wood, we've only had to call them once, but we'll see. It's only February, so that's about it.
Allie, without getting into the personal details of the person, can you give us like what's the walkthrough that you guys obviously get a call or something which tells us that a senior is in trouble? Can you at least walk through for us so that people out there understand what that process is, where they try to place the senior, things of that nature?
Mm-hmm. So obviously every case is unique, but in many cases, sometimes it's people that we already know that are on our radar, and they have been for a long time. And sometimes they're new to us. Sometimes they're referrals from the police, or sometimes oil companies will call us, neighbors, family members. So it can be from a variety, churches, a variety of referrals to us that they're concerned. And you know, we will initially, depending on the situation, if we know the person, then we touch base with them. We'll do home visits. And if we deem that they're okay for now, we'll kind of just keep them on our radar and keep in touch with the people who have reached out to us, and keep those lines of communication open. But sometimes it gets to the point where there's only so much that we in Human Services can do. We can make suggestions and referrals to people, but we don't have any kind of ability to have any kind of authority, and really that's where we would call some protective services, so that they have the ability, if necessary, to apply for conservatorship, which is often the case if they get to that stage. Or sometimes they deem that the person is still okay, and sometimes one of the social workers actually told me, he said it should really be called reactive services, not protective, because they don't get to really intervene until things get to the point where the person's somewhat in danger, to themselves or others. It sounds awful, but people have the right to live the way they want to live, until their judgment or ability, is impaired.
Yeah, that principle of autonomy is critically important. That
Yeah.
if we went and looked at every single person's household, we might be conserving other people as well. So
Exactly.
that's just the reality. And so it is. I think that reactive services is a good term, which is
Isn't it? It's stuck in my head ever since he said it. It's so true. He's like, I wish we were protected, because then we'd be able to do more. But so I think oftentimes people will call our office numerous times, and sometimes, even though we all might not want to live the same way that person's living, or we are concerned, there's a fine line between when they can actually intervene. So it's touchy, but we will always refer and do outreach. So people, like I said, we have a variety, and we obviously work closely with Beth and Gina too. So if some people are on all of 3 of our radars, and we kind of keep tabs on them. So we do our best to help them, keep people safe, but our abilities are somewhat limited.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions for Allie? Beth?
I just want to make a comment. Allie and Cynthia do a tremendous job of improving the quality of life of people that all of us may consider it a little left of center, so that they have the autonomy. And there's never been a referral that I've given Allie that person forever is on her radar. So if the person needs to be checked, or she encourages them to bring them in the center and then comes down and checks them in the center too. Because again, we want to respect, but at the same time, if we didn't have such a wonderful Human Services department, those people might be even more at risk as they decided to live in their autonomous left of center way. So I just want to compliment Allie, because she never drops the ball on those things. She's a support system for them to be allowed to live as safe as they can left of center.
Fair enough. Thank you, Beth.
I think we're a good team, the 3 of us.
Awesome. Well, it's nice that you're all in that center, so you're able to be in a position to walk down the hall and talk to each other about some of these very sticky issues. That's for sure. Great. Other questions for Allie? Hearing none. Thank you so much. Peter, what's going on? I know the legislative session is going on. I know you've got stuff to report.
I'll start, Joe, with the tax aid program, the Darien Library. Just to give you an idea, last Friday from 9 to 4, we had 53 appointments, and 42 tax returns were processed. It's completely free. It's irregardless of your age. It's irregardless of your income. The only qualification is it has to be a fairly simple tax return. So if you're into Bitcoins or running a business from your home, you probably won't be able to get it there. But again, the bookings are almost completely full. We're not taking walk-ins again because of COVID, but go to the Darien Library website. There's a place to register. Again, we're doing it on Mondays from 1 to 7, and on Fridays and Saturdays from 9 to 4. So that's I think quite a benefit to the community and surrounding communities. Advocacy, yes, I met with Senator Duff and Representative Wood in the last 2 weeks, and we've talked about what's going on in Hartford, and particularly AARP's agenda. A couple of highlights. We're going to push ahead on no excuse absentee balloting. Okay, again, it's not something that's clean and easy, because again, there's voter ID requirements, But again, we're pushing ahead to make it easy for older adults, easy for anyone to vote with an absentee ballot, as we do in so many states around the country. Prescription drug prices, working on creating perhaps what some states have already put in place, but almost a state board that looks at prescription drug prices and begins to address some of these. Related to that, again, is the increase in long-term care insurance, how it's been escalating and how there's been no controls on it. And again, so we're looking at the legislature to figure out how to work with insurance companies to protect those people that have paid into this program maybe for 30 or 40 years, and all of a sudden wake up and get a letter in the mail that said their rates have gone up 40% the next year. Lamont has come out with tax proposals. He wants to restore the full eligibility on the property tax credit, increase the property tax credit from $200 to $300 per individual, accelerate the planned phase-in of pensions and annuity exemptions from income taxes. As we know that this has been on the books and the legislature has stretched it out. Well, they're going to collapse it. Hopefully, we're going to get to this much more quickly than what it's been in the past. Reduce also motor vehicle property taxes. Again, so these are, it's a very short session. There's going to be only hearings on Zoom. But again, lots of things that affect older adults, nursing home, again, protection, extending the ombudsman program, perhaps from outside of nursing homes to more in-home care programs, again, to deal with some of the situations that Allie was describing, where again, there's a voice for the individual that can help get relief. So that's pretty much that. Joe, you asked me about livable communities. I talked to the folks at ARP, and again, what we decided was we really needed somebody in town government that might serve as a champion for this effort. It's interesting, already in our state, livable communities are Greenwich, which was first in 2016, and Newtown followed in 2017. Since then, Glastonbury, Simsbury, and Groton have become livable communities. Alex suggested that perhaps Parks and Rec might be a good place for this. Again, given, for example, walkable communities. She suggested Pam, Gary, and I'm meeting with Pam tomorrow, actually, to talk about it, because Pam said that she might be interested in pursuing this. So we'll see. And so we'll put off giving you a report until we find that out. And finally, Blight Board continues to meet. We're down to about a half dozen situations now. And we meet regularly. We met last week, and that continues to be a priority. And that's it.
Thank you, Peter, and thanks for your efforts on the livable communities and, of course, with the ARP and state government. You are certainly our most active member, both locally and statewide, for purposes of the commission, and we really appreciate all your efforts on this. Thank you. Awesome. Gina, what's going on at home in Darien?
Hi, all is good here at home in Darien. We continue to remain very active. We are offering a new service, or not a new service, but just explaining that we offer computer assistance in home if anybody needs that. And that seems to be very well received for people having all sorts of technical issues. But I just wanted to remind everybody we're available not only for transportation and other volunteer opportunities, but also if you're having some problem with your computer, your laptop, iPhone, even your TV remotes, we can have volunteers come out and help. I think you're muted, Joe. I didn't hear what you said.
My apologies. What's the age requirement for that in order to utilize at home in Darien for such things?
60 plus.
Okay, so 2 years and a month from now, I will show up with various devices for you to work on. That would be great. That is a heck of a service for those of us who are tech challenged, including myself. I am very blessed to have the town of Darien set up these Zoom. And for my church, where I'm leading the transition committee, I have a wonderful moderator who sets up our Zoom calls. So long story short, for those of us who are tech challenged, including myself, this is a wonderful thing you're offering. And I look forward to taking advantage of it when I turn 60. That will be great. Is there other old business? Looking around. Is there any new business?
Hi,
Hi, Jerry.
Joe.
Yeah.
Hi. I just wanted to mention the new cafe in the Darien Library. If anybody has gone there yet, it's run by Ableist, and the proceeds are going to be going to the special needs. And a lot of the different restaurants in Darien are supplying the food, like I think Michael Joseph's Upper Crust, and there's some others. So it's open now. There was a grand opening, and so it should be fun for the community.
That's a great call, and such a wonderful community effort, and that's very, very cool. I'll throw out another shout out to the Darien Library. Before you buy a book on Amazon, you read something in the New York Times or somewhere else, a review, and you say, hey, that looks like a cool book. I recently just emailed the library and said, hey, can you buy this book and put it on reserve for me? And they said, we'll look into it. 2 months later, I get a wonderful email saying, it's ready for you. And I'm going, oh my goodness, what an amazing service to be able to find a book which you think is really cool and which you can effectively get for free simply by emailing the library. Now, I'm not saying they'll purchase everybody's suggestions, but they did mine, and I was just thrilled with it. So it's very cool. Good stuff. Thank you, Jerry. Any other new business? Hearing none, we will definitely do our best to meet in room 119 next month, which will be Wednesday, March 16th. So that should give us a chance to review our January and now February minutes. And I look forward to seeing all of you in person. Obviously, I will let you know if, God forbid, we have another variant that raises its ugly head. We'll also be advised at that time as to what Town Hall's mask policy will be, and we'll go with that. So thank all of you for coming today via video, and I look forward to seeing you in person in March.
Thank you.
Have a great day. One more
Thanks,
point.
Joe.
Can I have a motion to close the meeting? I forgot to do that. Jim, thank you. Can I have a second? Thank you, Marcia and Jerry. All in favor? Aye, thank you. And I heard one more person raise something. Is there anything else? Nope. Okay, I closed the meeting. Thanks, everybody. I look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
you in March. Bye-bye.
Thank you.